1874. The exact date is uncertain, but Margaret again has left us a very graphic and a moving account. She says again, the Blessed Sacrament was exposed. Notice how time and time again these revelations occur within the context of the Holy Eucharist. She says, I was experiencing an unusually complete state of recollection, my senses and faculties utterly withdrawn from their surroundings, when Jesus Christ, my kind Master, appeared to me. He was a blaze of glory, his 5 wounds shining like 5 suns, flames issuing from all parts of his human form, especially from his divine breast, which was like a furnace, and which he opened to disclose his utterly affectionate and lovable heart, the living source of all those flames. It was at this moment that he revealed to me the indescribable wonders of his pure love for mankind, the extravagance to which he'd been led for those who had nothing for him but ingratitude and indifference. This hurts me more, he told me, than everything I suffered in my passion. Even a little love from them in return, and I should regard all that I have done for them as next to nothing, and look for a way of still doing more. But no, all my eager efforts for their welfare meet with nothing but coldness and dislike. Do me the kindness, then you, of making up for all their ingratitude as far as you can. When I pointed out my incapacities, he replied, here you are. This will make good your deficiencies, every one of them. His divine heart opening as he spoke, such a scorching flame shot forth as I was sure would devour me. It went right through me, and when I could bear it no longer, I begged him to take pity on my weakness. I shall be your support, he told me. Don't be afraid. Simply focus all your attention on my voice and my heart, and on what I am asking of you, so as to fit you for the fulfillment of my plans. First of all, you are to receive me in the Holy Eucharist as often as obedience allows. Accept any mortification or humiliation that may result as a token of my love. How interesting that humiliation and suffering he presents as tokens of his love. Besides this, you are to receive communion on the first Friday of each month. Then, every Thursday night, I shall give you a share in that fatal sadness which I allowed myself to feel in the Garden of Olives. Death couldn't be so hard as that agonized state to which this sadness will reduce you. You are to get up between 11 o'clock and midnight to keep me company in humble prayer to my Father, exactly as I spent that night in agony. Lie face downward with me for an hour, not only to allay God's anger by asking mercy for sinners, but also to soothe in some way the heartache I felt when my apostles deserted me. Here we see the beginning of that great tradition of the holy hour, of staying with Christ during that great hour of agony, when he took unto himself the sins of all the world, an agony so great it nearly killed him, when he turned to his apostles and said, my soul is sorrowful, even unto death. An agony so great and so intense, an agony which brought such fear and trembling as he assumed all of the sins of the world, every one of them, from the original sin of Adam and Eve, Abel's death at the hands of Cain. Think of all the murders, all of the adulteries, all the acts of envy, the pettiness down from human history that flooded upon him in that agony in the garden. Is it any wonder that his sweat became drops of blood, that the capillaries near the surface of the skin burst in this heart-wrenching agony, and as Luke records, the evangelist who was a physician, that it ran in rivulets on the ground? This is something that was communicated by our Lord to Margaret Mary. This was something that she felt and came to know acutely. Is it any wonder then that she sought to embrace the cross, that she sought to suffer, to try to offer some consolation to the suffering heart of Christ? Margaret, of course, reported these visions to her Mother Superior. A team of theologians was called in by the Mother Superior that questioned Margaret. She found the whole process humiliating, but in obedience she submitted to the wishes of Mother Superior. The theologians examined her and found her sound, and found the revelations to be sound. Shortly after this, she was to receive a great blessing in a holy Jesuit confession, Blessed Claude de la Colombière, who was to come and be Margaret Mary's spiritual confessor at Paray-le-Monial. He heard her confession, gave her spiritual direction, and became absolutely convinced of the authenticity of her revelations. The presence of Blessed Claude further strengthened the saint and prepared her for what is known in the history of spirituality as the Great Revelation of June 1675. This is how she describes this great revelation. One day, kneeling before the Blessed Sacrament during the octave of Corpus Christi, I was deluged with God's loving favors, inspired to make some return and to give back love for love. He said, "Do what I have already so often asked you. You can't show your love in a finer way than that." He disclosed his divine heart as he spoke. There it is, that heart so deeply in love with men. It spared no means of proof, wearing itself out until it was utterly spent. This meets with scant appreciation from most of them. All I get back is ingratitude. Witness their coldness, their irreverence, their sacrilege, and contempt for me in this, the sacrament of my love. What hurts me most is that hearts dedicated to my service behave in this way. That is why I am asking you to have the Friday after the octave of Corpus Christi set apart as a special feast in honor of my heart, a day on which to receive me in Holy Communion and make a solemn act of reparation for the indignities I have received in the Blessed Sacrament while exposed on the altars of the world. Does this not truly reveal the grandeur and the power of St. Margaret Mary's spirituality? She kneels in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and what does she desire to do? Give back love for love. This is what all the saints do. This is what the saints tell us we should do. If we truly love, if we truly sense the love which Jesus Christ has for us, what can we do but try to give back to the best of our ability some of the love which He has bestowed upon us? She realizes this, and even though she realizes her own inadequacy, she tries to do everything she can to give back love for love. After this great revelation, St. Margaret Mary began to try to introduce the devotion into her own community. She had a little pen and ink drawing of the heart of Jesus, and she had the group of the sisters there venerate and honor this image of our Lord's heart. She met with opposition. She met with ridicule. All of the saints do. Our Lord Himself predicted that anyone who truly was going to follow Him should expect ridicule and persecution, and she did receive this. But eventually, she continued to do everything she could to spread devotion to the Sacred Heart, and eventually she will see it triumph, not only in her convent, but throughout the Order of the Visitation. A number of the Jesuits, Blessed Claude and Father Crosset and other Jesuits, helped her to promote the devotion to the Sacred Heart.